All right, Chad. What do we have for the viewers today?
Yeah, so initial rapid observation today is Monster Train, which I just which I just recently realized is probably riffing off of Monster Trucks. I
Okay.
in my mind it was like I just kept thinking Monster Hunter World and things when I looked at it. But yeah, I guess Monster Train is a so we're a little kid playing with monster trains. Um, but
Okay.
this is cool. It came out I think a week ago. But it's a deck builder, very much in the vein of primarily I would say Slay the Spire is pretty huge
So it's
inspiration
a
for
card
this.
game, not a like roller coaster tycoon type thing.
No, yeah, not a roller coaster tycoon. We're not building theme parks or charging people to go to the bathroom or anything. This is purely getting your cards in order and fucking some things up. So I got a run in progress, but I'll start a new run just to kind of show this around. But you are somewhat familiar with Slay the Spire, right?
A bit. I don't think I've played it myself, but I've watched you
Yeah.
kind of go
So
through
I
your
think
runs.
game audio's coming in a little hot. Yeah, so very similar to that. So a couple key differences here, kind of off the bat. But basically, in this game, you are hell has frozen over, and you are carrying the last pyre to relight hell. So you're trying to get to the ninth level of hell, relight the pyre, and on the way you are being attacked by the forces of heaven that are trying to stop you from basically saving hell. So thematically, that's kind of what got going on here. From a gameplay perspective, though, it's you start with a combination of two classes, which is a little bit different than something like Slay the Spire, where you're choosing a main class that has a different set of cards. Here, you're kind of choosing like a primary and secondary clan.
What are clans?
So clans are essentially just groups of cards. It would be the best way to think about them. So each clan has its own hero, and if you choose it as your primary clan, so you can see my dude here, with the good shoulders. He is the hero of the Hellhorn. So if I had switched to a different, and you can see back in here, we've got our little secondary allied clan hero. But he's not
Yep.
going to come into play because you only play with one hero per run. So we're going to get him, and then we're going to have kind of a mix of cards between both of these primary and allied clans. So you can see if I switched it, then we'd have kind of this going on here, right? So she's got a
Oh,
different
okay.
hero. So, and
So
then
is
I
that person's
just
name Awoken, or is that the name of the clan?
this is the Awoken clan. This is the Hellhorn, and this is the Stygian. And then it will get this dude has a name, and I think we'll see it on his card, and maybe here in a little bit.
Okay.
And then I think this is actually not the hero. It's kind of like just I think one of the secondary units. But what an interesting thing here too that I've seen kind of so far is that it seems like when you choose something as an allied clan or a secondary clan, there's different units that you'd be getting than if you had them as like your primary, from what I can tell so far. So, but that's kind of cool because you can mix and match any of these clans. I only have 3 of the initial 5 unlocked. There's a ton of progression in this game that we'll look at a little later.
Okay, so it kind of limits
Yeah.
the clans or decks that you can use right
Yeah,
away.
so you're gated out here until you do. I think I unlocked the Stygian by casting like 250 spells. So
Okay.
uh, I went a little spell happy. So yeah, you're choosing your basic combination here. So I'll choose this too. This is kind of the main one they start you out with. Hellhorn with the Awoken as your allies. These guys are really damage heavy, and things like multi-strikes and just pumping out damage. And then the Awoken seem to be pretty tank heavy, so you've got things like regenerating health and then kind of bubbling up and using stuff like thorns to deal some damage that way and kind of protect your units. So
Gotcha. What's the percentages on the right? What does that mean?
yeah, this is
18%.
yeah, so this is kind of cool. So this is the amount of basically the percentage of cards that I've had in a winning run. So I think I've won 1 run or maybe 2 so far. And this is basically just every time whatever cards are in your deck at the end of that run, they turn golden, kind of forevermore, to indicate that you've won with them. And then this shows
Right.
kind of the overall percentage of cards that you've won with, which is kind of cool
Okay.
because there's going to be objectively like kind of shitty cards. So it might be like oh, I got to win with that, with that butter knife or whatever, and you got to get that in there and then try and gold it out. So that seems like kind of an interesting twist on this.
Gotcha.
And I think the last thing here this is kind of cool too, that they really throw a lot of this stuff in your face, which is pretty cool. So like your win streaks, and your different ranks, and then here is your kind of prestige equivalent. So it's very Slay the Spire-esque, where once you win a game, you can kind of bump up the difficulty one at a time. So I'm on Covenant rank 2 out of 25. So every level of difficulties, like something is going to happen to kind of progressively make the game harder. So for rank 1, yes, I've won twice. So the first time I won, I bumped up the difficulty and it says enemies are stronger, and you have random cards in your deck. And then number 2 was add a deadweight card to your deck. Basically, you just got a burner in there that just doesn't do anything. So 25 times, it's going to keep getting harder every time, and that's kind of how you progress. So almost like going up, like in Diablo, going up the hell difficulty levels and whatnot.
Okay, that's cool that they have it right up front for you.
Yeah. So so we'll go with this kind of standard duo here, and depart. Cool. So, a couple things right off the bat. Final boss is Seraph the Chaste, or Chast. I'm not sure. Probably Chaste.
Chase.
Yeah. So the end is near, and then Seraph is the final boss, and he'll kind of have a different gimmick every run. So this one is cleanse all units of effects which don't benefit Seraph. So basically, he's going to remove half of any buff and debuff stacks. So I think any debuffs you have on monsters is going to wipe half those out every turn. All your buffs get wiped halfway out. So it kind of forces you into different play styles. So there's a different one that I think I won against before, where the first spell you cast every turn just got consumed, meaning it was just basically discarded permanently from the battle. Yeah, so you kind of had to play like, your maybe a shittier burner card first, and then kind of go that way.
Dude,
so
that sucked.
So yeah, so that one kind of counters spell decks. This one looks like it's going to counter buffs. So I'm not sure how many different iterations they have on him, but I've seen, I think, 3 so far.
Interesting.
This is different too. So you get.
Is this your starting hand?
Yeah, so we have a generic starting hand based off the classes that you pick. I'll show you that here in a minute. But then this is a new thing. I think after I won the first time, they kind of switch it up, and now you get 3 random spells in your deck at the beginning of every run. So it's usually 2 of these lower level ones, and it seems like one blue card in there.
Okay.
So same thing, kind of neat. Just forces you into different styles of play. And so that's been nice so far. So let's do okay here. So basically, this is our little monster train. Looks like a helmet, and we've got basically.
Is that a helmet or is that the train?
It is a train, but I think very cleverly made it look like a helmet. So good on these guys. But yeah, we're gonna be going through basically 9 fights as we scroll down different areas, and then you've got the final boss at the end, the Frozen Heart, and then between. Oh, that's probably rough on the eyes. So between every one of these battles, you get to choose one of these sides, and you get like different things you can do between, kind of like a little respite period. It's okay. There's different types of shops on either side, or just different stuff. So you can kind of choose based off what you need in the moment. That's kind of neat.
So that's where you progress your deck, like as the run continues.
Yeah. So here's you can buy units if you go this way, or buff units, or you can buff spells if you go this way. Here's some gold if you go this way, and here is you get a random unit. So. Pretty cool. We have kind of a starting thing here, so I'll show you. This one is upgrading your champion, so there's kind of tiers you can take your champion down. So we'll pull this up.
Nice.
So this is our champion, the Hornbreaker Prince, and he can either go Reaper or Wrathful. So there's three of these, and you randomly get to choose between 2. So I can either do give him some more attack, and then every time he kills somebody, he gets 10 more attack.
Really good. Extra 10 attack,
which is real good. Yep. Or I can go Wrathful, and he gets some more health, and then a few things here. When he kills, he gets some armor, which is kind of temporary health. When he gets hit, he gets a rage, which just buffs his damage. So, but we'll go here. Slaying's fun. Okay. Damage is fun. Then you've got Herzl's
That's cool.
Horde.
So every run starts out with you just immediately buffing your main hero.
Yeah, and that's the cool thing too. Is that, I mean, they do a really good job. Like, it's fun to choose between like just options, right? Like, that's the random draft stuff for like the arena and Hearthstone. And here they do that a lot. So you get like, hey, your random starting cards. Here's your random, out of 3 buffs for your hero. You can kind of go down these 2 paths. You can mix and match. So they do a really good job of like kind of changing every run up. And then we're gonna do the same thing here. So we're gonna get to choose, I believe, between 2 artifacts. Yep. So artifacts go kind of up along the top bar here, and they're going to be kind of persistent effects that you never cast or play. They're just kind of always active.
Oh, just passives?
Yep. Ooh. So friendly units enter with 5 armor, so everybody's just starting topped off with 5 armor. Armor's like health, but just once you take that damage,
that sounds pretty good.
Permanently, so that's pretty good. This one, at the start of your turn, add a random imp unit to your hand. This is fun. There's an imp build where you can just throw a bunch of imps at everything. That might be a little imp overloady for us though, so we'll go maybe basic here.
Nice.
Cool. So there's 2 things, and then starting deck. So we had kind of so we had a couple random spells. We got the sap, the fortify.
Did you make this deck, or was this pre-built?
Nope. So it's pre-built because based off your class. So you always get these 4 train stewards, which are just kind of basic units. No matter what you do, you get 4 of these guys, and then you always get your champion. But from here, you get, I don't know if it's always 3. I think it might be, but 3 of each starting spell based off your class. So this
it sounds like it's just really easy to jump right in.
Oh yeah, you can pull it up and then you just have it here. So the hell guys, the red guys get this deal 2 damage. These guys have some health with some regen. So and then you get some random stuff. So yeah, you're not doing any kind of looking up the best decks or builds or anything. You kind of just start and kind of take what the game gives you. So yeah, we'll hop right into it.
Cool. A foe awaits for you.
So this is kind of cool. There's only 9 battles, right? It's 1 for every level of hell, and then you're kind of done. So these are kind of prolonged battles that go turn by turn. This is neat because you can actually say, hey, I can make this harder for a reward at the end of the fight. So we can have enemy units starting with 10 armor, which is just shitting all over our starting with 5, and then we get our unit draft at the end of it. So why not? That's fun.
Sure.
Also, I really like that it just shows you the current track that's playing. I think you can go through and change that, so it's just neat. So this is the game. So basically, we're on our train, just bat out of hell, literally, flying through here trying to get to the end, to Seraph. And these units are going to start here every turn. Generally, they're always starting on the bottom, and then what they'll do is they'll fight 1 round of combat at the bottom, and then they'll just move up a level every turn. And if they get to the very top, they'll kind of start hitting your pyre, and the pyre will shoot a bunch of damage back at them. But this is your overall persistent health, so the pyre, if we take 20 damage, it'll be damaged for the rest of the run unless we find some healing stuff for it. So we always start with our kind of champion in our starting hand, and you always draw 5 initially. So we'll plop him down here. So a few things to note. One is that you can see we have 3 Ember, which is just mana or basically actions per turn. So you can see the cost of all the cards here, so I get to play basically 3 cards. Cool thing too is that you've got kind of this position matters quite a bit. So I can put this guy in front of our prince, just to be brave and tank some damage for him. And what they'll do is that when these guys attack, the enemies always go first, and all of them will complete all their attacks, then you go. And they'll always attack front unit first. So both these guys will take a whack at our little train steward, and then if he's still alive, then he gets to rebuttal, and we'll go kind of like that.
Nice.
And then you can see some basic stuff, like this guy's in the back, so I can't hit him initially. This guy's kind of just a big tank unit, but I've got a torch here, which normally would be able to wipe him out, but I did the armor buff. But generally you'd be able to do something like that, and if he didn't have that armor, he'd be out of the equation. So then they do a nice thing here where you can see kind of a combat preview. So this guy's taking 4 damage this turn, this guy's going to take 23. These guys aren't taking anything, and then these guys will be moving up next turn. So I'll put that on. Let's do it there. Something like that. Cool. Nothing else we can do, so we'll just end turn, watch it play out.
So spells can always just attack the back line?
Not
Is that the
always.
thing?
So it'll say on the spell. So that one's the one that we have with the fireball is targeted. So you can just throw it wherever you want.
Oh,
There's
gotcha.
like the new class that I unlocked. They have it like, hey, this deals 6 damage to the leftmost units, or the guy in the back takes damage or whatever. So
Okay.
this is a shame. Kind of a sad draw for us. These little guys will show up. These collectors. Carrying a bag of cash. So what'll happen is just during the run, if you can kill him, he doesn't attack. He just basically takes off. But if you kill him, you get $50. So
Nice.
unfortunately, no spell in our hands, so we can't get this guy. Or if I just had units here that were going to attack and they were able to hit him, then that would take him out too. So, but kind of fun. That makes
Too
you kind
soon.
of change up and try and take those.
Does it
guys
always
out.
show up on the first turn or the second turn?
I don't.
Or is that
no?
random?
So it seems. I think
That seemed pretty
I think
fast.
it's random, and I think I've seen. I think I've seen maybe more than one on a level, but that might not be true.
okay.
So.
Let's kill some dudes.
Yeah, let's kill these guys. So this guy took no damage. Everybody's topped off. So basically, I'm just gonna try to slow these guys down a little bit. Throw this guy up here. He'll do a little bit more damage to this guy, and then we'll just throw some armor on this guy. He's been doing a good job. And this is cool. So everything in this is stacks. So like it's really like buffs and everything are all stack based. So 5 regen will go on this guy. All these just tick down 1 at the end of every turn. So 5 regen will go on whoever I put it on, and that regen just means they heal 5 at the end of the turn, and then lose a regen, then heal 4 the next turn. So you can get those stacks going on some tanky units and just kind of have some persistent healing. But nothing to put that on now, so we will just let it go.
Cool.
The run animations are pretty good. Oh yeah, so Branding Right was one of the things we started with. Piercing, so it goes through the shielding, which would be nice for us. Deal 5 damage, apply 20 armor. So the funny thing is that if you don't kill him with it, you're going to give him a shitload of armor. Or you can brand your
okay.
own guys. So a lot of this stuff is like, they have a ton of things that are like enemy or ally like agnostic. So like I can shoot my own dudes to deal 2 damage if I needed to like clear out space. So these guys, you can see Train Steward has these 2 little pips there, and this guy does 2, so they're actually taking up 4 capacity on this level, and I have 5 total. So I can fit one little 1 pip guy in here, but then once you do that, you're kind of out of space, and you can't very easily just move these guys around or kill them or replace them without special cards that move them for you. So that's kind of a consideration too, is like making sure that you're not just putting units to put them, because you might block yourself out for later.
Crazy.
So what we'll do, what are we gonna do here? So this guy is doing 4 damage. So let's just, I don't want him taking out our pyre, so we'll do that to him. So pierce his armor. We'll put another train guy here. And it should be good. This is a dead weight I was talking about, so can't play it, can't do anything with it, just kind of takes up a draw.
Bummer.
And that's our pyre fucking people up. So the pyre is gonna hit kind of AOE everybody. They both take their shot, and then it hits everybody for 20. So cool.
Oh, gotcha. So the opponent is just sending them to their doom, basically.
Yeah.
Just get some.
Yep. Yeah.
And your pyre is your life, basically, right?
Yeah. So this will stay because it mirrors kind of in the upper left here. So this is just kind of my overall health.
Okay.
And then some of those stops between the battles. Sometimes they'll have the option, if you go left or right, to get like a heal of 20 or something like that. So
Cool.
I think this is the last big thing mechanic here, is that every boss you end each one of these encounters with a boss, and the bosses are always what's called relentless here, which just means that the room combat just plays out until either the boss is dead or all your units are dead. So what's going to happen is that once
Just a cage
I
match
click
with,
go, they just fight back and forth, and they do the same thing over and over again. And it still counts as like turns. So if he had a regen buff on him, and they both kind of take a whack at each other, all the buffs and debuffs happen, and then they just keep going again, right? So it's basically just as if I was just hitting the end turn button like rapidly. So they're just gonna start fucking each other up. So what we'll do is maybe this might help. Put regen on this guy, and then That's actually going to help. But you can see he'll take 59 at the end of this, so I think that's about all we can do. So yeah, so see, it kind of ends, we do their stuff, and then it's round 2.
That guy's he's a big dude.
Yeah, so this first battle is a little, like, can be a little weird because you just don't have a lot of units when you first start, and you kind of have your random spells. So I see this a lot where, like, my champion kind of gets wiped out because I don't really have anybody great to protect him yet, and like we haven't really chosen that much stuff, right? Like we have our one artifact and we got our random spells, but this just kind of seems to be how this goes. So this guys seem to get to the pyre a lot on this first battle. But so we've got. I also made it quite a bit more difficult with this extra challenge for the 10 armor thing. Let's go ahead and he's all that matters. Once we take out the big bad here, combat immediately ends. So even if there was people chilling, ready to go for the pyre, or this guy's still alive, once he's out, you get a cool little cinematic, and then it is over. So
Master.
the flavor text on these guys is actually not bad.
Poor dudes.
There is a mode that will put, you can change an option to put the lore on these cards, kind of like it's on like magic cards or whatever, little quotes and stuff. I might do that at some point. Just to, they've got kind of an interesting like world they've built where it's like doesn't take itself too seriously, but like they actually also put some thought into it. It seems like, so a little interesting.
That's fun. That's what makes it interesting outside of the game.
Yeah.
So hold on. So that big dude looks like he has 57 health, right? Like if he just went straight to your pyre, it's gonna destroy him in like 2-3 turns, right?
Yeah. So that's the stakes are low here. He's only hitting for 4, so he'll hit the pyre probably 3 times, and he'll be taking that 20 damage. So not a big deal here. This guy kind of stinks to have him take another 4 on there, but I can branding right him, pierce, and fuck him up. Right. And then I might as well get a couple damage on you. It's not gonna matter though. And then he's going to go basically straight up here, and then this will just resolve itself out. So.
Gotcha. Do you full heal by your next stop, or no?
No, so there's options that'll heal between the battles, but you're kind of, this is your health for the run, essentially.
Oh.
So we can see battle 1, I lose some score percentage because I took some damage, 50% because I had that little trial challenge, so this is my total points. This is fun. The score... they do some stuff with it to make it kind of feel good to get the higher scores. They're tracking it. That's what gets you like more card unlocks and things. So the score in here feels a little better than it does, at least to me personally, than some of the other games I've played like this. I kind of like bumping up the score. And then down here you can see just for winning the fight, we're going to get $50, a unit draft because we did that little challenge thing, and then we always get to pick just basically one card from each of our clans. So we'll do the collect. So it pops me up 3 of my what are these guys? Hell-horned units.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can just see, yep, it'll be either a unit or a spell, and you can just choose out of them. Interesting thing, too, I didn't really talk about is that the units are one play, and then they're done. So you can, once you play out your units, they kind of go into like the permanent discard from a card standpoint, which is a little different from a lot of these games.
Oh, I didn't even realize that. So...
Yeah, so your
like
units
are kind of
they're kind of burning themselves out. So I don't see that a whole lot where you would like necessarily run out of cards. But I think like the concept of thinning your deck is maybe less important in this game than it is in some others. Just because you don't start with a ton of cards, the cards you start with are very easy to like upgrade and buff, which I'll show you in a second. And you also you drain your card pool pretty quick, just because you're taking units out that you're not going to redraw. So I don't feel like a bloated hand that often, which is kind of neat. Because it feels good to add stuff to your deck, right? It doesn't really feel great to like remove stuff, even though I'm always a fan of a thin deck, the thinnest of decks. So here we'll just do X is kind of fun. Just takes all your remaining mana and does something. So if we had 3 mana, it would do 6 damage to all the enemy units. So there's a lot of stuff that is like all allies or all enemies. It always means just whatever floor you're playing it on. I haven't seen any like train. Full AoE on the whole screen. I hope that is a thing. It might not be though. And yeah, so let's just.
That sounds like it'd be a little bit overpowered.
Yeah, fledgling. Yep, this will be fun. Summon when you put him down, he just rages his friends. So we'll do that. Imps are fun. And then here we can get kind of our Buffy, Healy type cards from our Awoken clan. So This one's fun. Vine Grasp, deal 3 damage, so it's kind of nice to have something you can target anywhere. And it moves that unit to the front, so you can grab a healer or a damage dealer from the back and move them up front and fuck them up. So it's pretty good. Then from our challenge we gave ourselves, we get a unit draft. This is nice because you're not guaranteed to get a unit, right, in those other choice of 3 cards. So this gives us like kind of some firepower. So we'll go.
Wow, that guy's 50-50.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That's insane.
So he costs 4, but there's lots of ways to kind of reduce those costs with buffs on cards. We at some point can choose to increase our mana we have per turn. But I think we'll go with this guy, the Rail Beater.
Sounds good to me.
Cool. And I think the last thing to cover here is just kind of like these between match phases. One thing that's really nice is like, I need to stop scrolling that. That's just nausea-inducing. But in something like Slay the Spire, you're doing like in one run, it's going to take you about an hour and a half. And I'm slow and a little stupid, so it takes me like 2 hours to do a run. Like if you get to the final boss in something like Slay the Spire, and you're doing probably easily maybe 30 combats during that time, and they're lengthy. And then you have the big boss battles, so you can really get kind of burned out. And I just get kind of sick of my deck after a while. I'm like,
really?
I've used this deck a million times during this. Like, it's a fun game. It's maybe my favorite game, but like you get a little burned out, right? Like the fun of a kind of roguelike is doing the runs and kind of keeping it a little bit snappier. So this, I think, does a pretty good job of that, right? Because you're only ever doing 9 fights, and you have a little bit more downtime between them to do a couple different things. So I think that the pace of this feels really good so far to me. Yeah, there was just times in Slay the Spire when I would get to the third act or the last bit and be like, man, I got a 30 card deck, and just it's just a lot of shit going on. I just get kind of tired, just want to reroll and streamline it. So
that's cool. Is this on phone or is this only PC?
This is only PC. I'm not sure if there's any plans to bring it
Gotcha.
anywhere else.
Because I noticed, because we know Hearthstone's on iOS and all that. Slay the Spire is not, surprisingly. Both of which are pretty lightweight games, I assume.
Yeah, that is surprising because they have the iPad streaming version now for Steam, so you can stream Steam to an iPad, and then Slay the Spire has like a iPad or touchpad version, and it plays really nice with the touchpad. So, but it's not like
halfway there.
It's a game setting within it. So I guess if you had it on like a Windows 10 tablet or something, you could do it natively. But like it's definitely well suited for it. I don't know why they don't just make an app. But I guess they just got it to Switch in the consoles. So.
All right. So do you see yourself playing this for a long while, or kind of just?
I think so.
Season?
I think so. I think this has legs for me. I think this might be
because you played Hearthstone for years, and then Slay the Spire for years.
Yeah,
so
and this
you think is right up there?
Yeah, they're doing it right. They've got the Ascension equivalents or the difficulty where I got 25 more wins to get. It's going to get progressively harder every time, so that's going to take me a while. New classes to unlock. There's it seems kind of zippy and fun to play. There's definitely some depth. I like the multi-level system as you fight your way up the train. It's pretty cool. So yeah, I am a fan. I think this is one of the good ones. There's been a lot of clones of the deck building games, but this one is, I think, doing a lot of things right.
Cool. All right, man. Well, thanks for giving us a rapid observation.
Yeah,
on this.
Yeah, that feels like an initial rapid observation. So, with that, yeah, Monster Train, check it out.
All right,